what the hell this thing is doing in my lake.
Is that a piranha?
This particular piranha vanished 2 million years ago.
I'm thinking about closing the lake.
There's us, and there's 20,000 kids. You do the math.
Fish and titties, boy. You know, I can never get that on the menu at Long John Silver's. But I can in this movie right here. Maybe that's why I like it so much.
And you'll be able to find it soon at the local X-rated video store where you can just ask for Piranha Porn 3D, and this is what you'll get.
Where's your porn fish section at?
Yeah, it's right there, that one DVD right there.
This does indeed have a lot of fish and a lot of titties. In fact, like one of the premises in here is that there's sort of a Girls Gone Wild ripoff going on.
Yeah.
There's easily as many boobs in here as in a Girls Gone Wild video.
Oh, easily, yeah. Well, the thing is, too, this movie is just, I don't know if you guys are, really that hardcore about your porn, but there are a lot of porn stars in this film, actually.
I didn't even
and
realize
two of them actually have some of the best death scenes.
Are they porn stars?
No, they are porn stars. Yeah, Gianna Michaels is in it. Ashlyn Brooke is in this, and Riley Steele is actually one of the main girls that's hanging out with what's his name?
Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell's character.
Who's this chick? Kelly Brook.
Kelly Brook is, I don't know. She's been on the internet a lot. You can find plenty of pictures of her nude.
Oh, she poses nude all the time.
She's more of a nude model than anything. I don't know if she's ever been in Playboy, but she's one of those nude internet chicks, basically.
Yeah, no, reading about her is like, if you go, she likes to get naked. Like, if you go up and say, hi, Kelly, she's like, titties,
Right.
I think we just learned something important about co-host there with his exhaustive knowledge of porn stars.
And he was totally serious about it, too. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He was like, he pulled out his pipe and was like, now, if you notice, there are a number of porn stars in this film.
I have to inform the kids of who's actually starring in this great cinema here.
You've been hanging out with our old friend Porno Chris?
Yeah.
No. I'm sorry, I don't walk around with my scrapbook of porno stars.
Man, look, there's something about a movie like this which is completely self-aware of what it is, and it lays it on thick. Now, let's just forget all the boobs, tits, and naked women that we get in some porn stars and strippers, because there's plenty of that.
That's a given.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can review boobs all day, but that's not what we do here.
No,
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm waiting for that little offshoot of the site, titties.com.
Not when Corey quits. When Corey quits, that's what we'll do. We'll turn it into a full-fledged porn site.
Exactly. Fishandtits.com. But, man, no, let's talk about the premise of this, which, if you read about it from the very get-go, it's about as dumb as all get out, man. Mm-hmm. We have intelligent, ferocious, man-hunting, pack-hunting fish.
Prehistoric fish.
Mm-hmm. Which were released by some seismic activity, an earthquake. Yeah, that lets them out of a lake within a lake.
It could happen. It could happen.
You know what? I have immense amounts of respect for the makers of this film, though, because they know how stupid this is, and they waste no time on it. They're just like, in the first 5 minutes of this film, the premise is established. Mm-hmm. Let the killing begin.
Oh, right. Man, yeah.
And it's just over at that point. There's no need to discuss it any further. That's what it is.
No,
but that doesn't make any sense. Really? Here's some boobies. Okay, that'll be fine.
Oh, yeah. Put boobies on you. I'll take anything.
If you go with a friend and he just starts telling you, that doesn't make any sense, that's when it's time to slap the motherfucker, all right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Because you went to the wrong movie, all right?
Like, look at the film. It's motorboating the audience.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Look, I will buy anything if you slap some breast on it. If Santa Claus had titties, I still believe in them.
It's one of those things I criticize you sometimes for saying, I give it an extra rating because it's got that girl gets naked. Because I'm like, really, who cares? But this is just sheer, quantity.
Wait a minute. Hold on. No, that is not me. That is him.
No, you've done that before. I have called you out on it, even.
He's really, right, Corey. I've heard some things.
What, because somebody got naked? Shut up. You're just stirring up trouble. I've never been that superficial before.
I know that sure as hell ain't me,
got
mister.
Naked and something's got to give.
Yes. There was that.
No. This is even beyond that argument. Just sheer quantity. Okay, this is what people going into a B horror film, and make no mistake, they know that this is what they're making. This is what they want to see. Not that shit from Asylum Productions that they do that with terrible fucking nothing but bad special effects and no titties. Yeah. This is titties and gore. Just like a buffet of it.
It is. And yeah, you're right. The filmmakers are completely aware that they are making a bad film. So much so that the actors are even aware that they are making a terrible film, which is kind of my only problem with it. I mean, and it's not even a problem. It's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, the acting in this movie, if you came to this movie looking for acting, I mean, you're an idiot. But the thing is, the actors in this movie aren't even acting. It's almost as if some of it felt a bit ad-libbed. Like they were just making up things just to move the story along, just so they can have some filler before they set up, before they try to set up these tense moments, which aren't really tense. I mean, once the fish go on the attack, they really do go on the attack. They don't really take time developing the story at all. Or there's no characters in this film, really. It's just it's like seeing celebrities in a bad film. That's all it is. Especially Ving Rhames, who's he's barely in the fucking film, and he really has no real role besides to play the tough guy that he usually plays. But he doesn't even play that well.
Elizabeth Shue, who's the local sheriff, who has to, who should be telling everybody to leave, get out of the water, like in Jaws.
Should be Roy Scheider's character.
And once again, the movie's not like Jaws followed that character. Here, she's barely in it. She's a plot device at best. She's there so her kids can be in danger and she can be worried later on in the film, and so she can ineffectually yell at teenagers.
Yeah, you're right, and that's what the characters are here for. That's why I wasn't looking for any kind of big characterization. And I know I always say to people, because I'm waiting for people to say, well, you always talk about character and story is the biggest thing. Yeah, when a movie's trying. This movie's not really trying. This movie is a setup for fish food.
You have to contextualize movies within their genre and what they're trying to do. If someone sets out with a mission statement, which clearly this is putting that where it's on its sleeve what it is, then you have to judge it within that mission statement. I've seen plenty of movies that are made to be bad movies that are just bad movies. They're not enjoyable at all. Piranha 3D totally gets it.
No, you're right, because Elizabeth Shue, she is a chef. You put it so well. She's there to yell at all these college students, get out of the water. Ving Rhames is a trusty deputy who is meant to just have one badass scene where he's killing fish in a badass way. That's arguable, but
yeah, it is.
And then let's not
forget Mrs. Paul, motherfuckers.
I'm the Gordon's fisherman, bitch.
And you don't get none of that.
Well, and then let's not forget about the rest of it. Now there are some little incendiary characters there. There's I forgot her son's name in this. He has the name of a famous person.
He's not a famous person. But you mean the kid who's ostensibly the main character.
Stephen R. McQueen as her son, who is meant to just come out there and almost be eaten by fish. But we know he's too wholesome to have that happen to him.
They establish early on he's a nice guy. He gets walked over. The town toughs don't like him and treat him like shit. But he's got unrequited love for the sweet girl who I guess is related to one of those tough guys or something. They never.
She's going out with one of those tough guys.
But you're like, okay, neither one of these people are going to die. That much is clear from the beginning.
No, it's like teenagers in a slasher flick. The purest teenagers are the ones that probably have the best chance of living. Because they're not having sex, they're not doing anything bad.
Unless they're trying to get meta about it, like the Scream movies, then this is where we're. It is one of those movies. This might as well have been made in 1978 or something.
Let's not forget about the most important cast members here, which is a ton of college extras, which are just there to be assholes, and to such assholes, such douchebags, to the point where you want them to get eaten.
No, you are rooting for the piranha in this movie.
Yes,
that's the one thing. The piranha are the heroes in this film, and when they shine, there's a part of this film where it's just the ultimate bloodbath that really fucking works. It's the one thing that I truly loved about this film. The only thing that huge scene was missing was Death Clock coming in and just started doing their death metal to all these wonderful, beautifully shot practical death scenes. I think K&B actually did a lot of the special effects work, and it's fucking amazing. That whole scene was great. But the thing is, my problem with the film, and I'll just get into it, what I didn't really care for was that I had to wait so long to get to that scene, honestly. Because at the beginning, I had the same problem with this film as I did with The Expendables, to where it starts off really cool, and you're like, okay, man, this movie is already starting the way I want it to, and then all of a sudden it decides to slow down and get into these characters who you just don't care about, only to, take its time and trying to develop some kind of story, when it just gets into the big explosions. And that's the same thing that this movie does with the storyline, to where, you see some cool shit at the beginning, even though it's CG. which that beginning was, it kind of made me go, okay, I hope I'm not going to see more of this because it looks pretty bad in 3D. But as soon as it gets to that like ultimate fish orgy, I mean, it fucking really does shine. I mean, I had the biggest smile on my face.
You're not selling it right because you called it a scene. It's the last reel.
The biggest smile on my face.
You're not selling it right because you called it a scene. It's the last reel of the film. I mean, come on. The first,
yeah, you're right.
The first two reels is just set up, but the reason I didn't hate it was because there's lots of boobs during it. There's some funny parts here and there. There's little bits of blood. I'm like, okay, I'm patient with this because I have a feeling, in fact, been told directly, it's gonna deliver. And yeah, the last like 30 minutes is one nonstop fucking bloodbath. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just hundreds of people being ripped to shreds.
Yeah,
and it's awesome.
Man, and see, that's why I was okay with it because I knew it was leading up to. I don't want them to just give me everything at the beginning. There's enough gore throughout the beginning of the film, just peppered here and there where somebody gets eaten. You see how ferocious the fish are, and that made me think like, damn, those some badass fish. Mm-hmm. When they go out there and attack all those college students, it's gonna be glorious.
Yeah, and it was.
And we have to kind of say, yeah, do the fish look fake? Yeah, they totally look fake.
Oh no,
does all the gore look realistic? Yeah. No, not at all. I mean, in fact, some of the stuff they do underwater, it's clearly CG. You're like, okay, that's CG, but then there's a joke inside of it, and you're like, wow, if you're gonna do that, at least you made me laugh while you.
That's the thing is that again, it goes to the level of self-awareness here. I mean, because the fish is CG. Why? Because
there are no piranha.
But not like this. No, they are smart fucking fish. I mean,
they are.
There's a scene like the movies has all these. Now I know you guys were saying like you didn't like how some people came in and left. There's some really great cameos that work for me in this. Richard Dreyfuss is at the beginning, and he's out, and I won't say why or how, but to me he doesn't need to be there.
Which I was disappointed about, only because the film really did kind of sell me that he was going to be in the movie, and I thought, you know what, this is a guy who, just him being there, he doesn't even really have to act. He could just be who he is, and just knowing the fact that he's almost the same character from Jaws, it kind of put a smile on my face. But they get rid of him so quickly that he's not much more than an extra.
Can I tell you why that worked for me? Why? Because it was a joke. It put him in there, and it was a joke that left it up to you to figure out. Like if you don't know anything about his character from Jaws, it doesn't mean anything, and it's still okay. And if you do know, it's like, okay, Richard Dreyfuss is in this. He has a good sense of humor. Everybody who knows about Jaws is in on it, and it's a joke that could have got old if they had kept bringing it in. It could have actually got really bad if they kept bringing it in.
I feel like it would have worked if they had kept it going because, as we've already said, this film has barely any plot. There's no character depth at all. So why not bring in a character who we already know?
Right.
So you don't have to bother like explaining anything. Yeah, we know who this guy is.
And you know what? The movie does show you how it could have worked. Christopher Lloyd
is awesome.
Is fucking incredible in this film, and he only has a small scene where he's telling you, exactly where these fish came from, and basically he's playing the same character from Back to the Future. He's playing Doc.
Oh yeah.
And and I'm like, what? They could have easily had Doc and Richard Dreyfuss all in the same scene,
See, that would have been way too much for me.
No. I think that would have been fucking awesome.
You might as well just bring Michael J. Fox in and have him come out. Marty, we gotta get your kids. They've been attacked by fish.
I'm with co-host. There's a scene in the film where he goes, "You're gonna have to get everyone out of this water." Well, when? He's like, "It'd be better if you did it yesterday."
Yeah.
Get the DeLorean.
I got that.
Marty,
I know.
where's Marty at?
But see, it was that scene that made me think like, this is why they got CG fish, because he goes and tells him, he's like, these fish are from prehistoric times, and that fish is looking at from the corner like, yeah, man. He's like pretty much like, I'm gonna get your ass. He's actually paying attention to them. He's like, yeah, put your hand in here.
Your face. Yeah. That's gonna be the deleted scene.
I know that fish looked like it was like a rejected fish from Finding Nemo or something.
When it even had like little frills, like little angry spikes.
I know it did that Jurassic Park thing.
I know, and I was like, wow, that's an. I gotta admit, that's a pretty awesome.
That fish actually pointed at Christopher Lloyd with his fin. It's like, I'm gonna get you.
And your friend in his car too.
Yeah. Let me out of here.
I will say the one character and actor in this that just irritated the shit out of me was what's his name?
Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell, who is playing it at 11, like this douchebag, Girls Gone Wild, like the producer of Girls Gone Wild who went to jail.
Joe Francis.
Yeah, he's that guy basically, and he's such a dick that I don't care. I just want what happens to him as long as he gets out of the movie. By 20 minutes into his
he was
performance.
really forcing that character. Like he was really forcing it to the point where you just automatically got annoyed. Like you wanted to see him gone from the picture.
And you know that means that because his death is going to be spectacular. And sure enough, it's a good one, but it just takes too fucking long.
It does,
because he is so irritating.
It is.
No, and that was one of my complaints about the movie is like, okay, yeah, no matter how over the top it is, and consciously so, it gets to a point where bad is just bad. I mean, some of the dialogue is really bad to the point of, no, that doesn't work because it's not funny. It's a bad piece of dialogue that these actors cannot deliver. And Jerry O'Connell, I was very annoyed by his character, and I know he was having a good time hamming it up. I know he can act, so I know that that's not him being a bad actor, but that character was just a little bit too over the top. There was only one line in this movie about his penis that made me laugh and sold me on his character. I was like, okay, if you're going to make this character a ridiculous character like this, then have him just act Shakespeare with some of the most dumbest shit in this film, which one of his closing lines was just ridiculously stupid, but I loved it.
And the thing is about this movie, too, is that when the characters try to be funny, they're not funny. It's almost like the extras are far more hilarious than any joke that is written in this movie. Because, I mean, I want people to really pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on in the background when this whole bloodbath begins.
Oh, yes,
because
absolutely.
some of the reactions off these extras who are getting killed is so fucking priceless.
I know.
It's priceless.
The guy with me, we just kept pointing at the screen like,
Yeah,
going,
I know.
Look at the guy back there.
Yeah. Oh, no. And that's what I was looking at, man. I was like, man, this is the movie to be an extra on. I said,
Yeah, it is.
I mean, think about it. You're out there in the middle of water. You got these girls and hot bikinis. And I'm like, and then you get to wear all this cool practical makeup because that's the thing at the end. You said it before you even started. You're like, okay, yeah, some of the CG in this is funny. Some of it is just downright bad. But most of the blood, if not all of like the prosthetic effects on all the characters, it's all practical effects.
The practical effects look great, and it's because it's Greg Nicotero, who is the new Tom Savini. He's the new bad boy for physical effects. And wow, do they look great, and wow, is there a shitload of them here. Just like, I mean, some of the stuff that's happening, I mean, like you said, Ghost, it's stuff happening off to the side. It's like there's stuff in the foreground, but in the background there's something so gory and nasty happening that your eyes are darting everywhere at once trying to capture all the horrible but obviously elaborate shit that's going on.
Almost to the point where it almost deserves 2 screenings because, I mean, you can't catch it all. And honestly, I thought that the extras should have had top billing before any of the actual stars in this film because they're the ones who really sell it.
They're like dying on screen while people are having conversation like right behind them, and they're doing it so badly that it's fucking hysterical.
Oh, man, there's people who are like falling off of things, and they're doing like that real bad dying that they did like in Westerns when people would get shot, and they're like, you see people in the background just fall off a boat like,
When you see people trying to climb into the boat, there's always like 5 of them that are just like shaking like an epileptic patient because supposedly they're being eaten from below.
Oh, and they almost turn to zombies when they're pulling people off the boats and they're killing people themselves.
I thought everyone like went to like the school of Mr. Hanky, the Christmas Pooh's like death scene of acting where everyone had like that.
Yeah, exactly. Man, and you know what?
Hilarious.
When it goes crazy in that last part of the film where people are being attacked by these piranhas, it's not just the piranhas that are doing damage. I mean, it's people killing each other. Like this one guy trying to get away and taking people out with the rotor of his motor, and then there's some other. There's a cool scene where somebody dies by the.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not gonna say anything. It's just there's a cord and it goes whipping around, and I was just like, man, you get blood, a cool death, and breast in this, and I'm like, man, this movie is bad.
And those breasts belong to the porno chick.
Damn, look at you, man. Your skills in porn are impeccable, man.
I'm telling you, Ashlyn Brooke, boy.
Yeah, and you know what? In the 3D, this is a movie that was most of the 3D. From what I understand, I might be wrong, but I think it was done in post. It was not meant to be in 3D.
It was.
They must have gone back and done some stuff just solely for 3D. Because
I'll tell you what it was right now. It was the most incredible display of 3D, like the greatest use you could use for it, which was the nude ballet, underwater ballet dance. Yeah,
with the girls who apparently don't need to breathe.
Oh no!
I was about to say, I was going to say, like
20-minute scene.
When you get a chick naked and put underwater, she can hold her breath for hours. Apparently,
and I was like, is there like some kind of oxygen system in those tits?
The weird thing, like even as the 3D not being very good, which it's not, it's funny. to watch in the sense that even at home without 3D, you'll laugh because
yeah.
you'll know it was supposed to be because
Yeah.
it's so goofy, the shit they do 3D with. It is like the old Friday the 13th Part 3 where it's like, man, that's so dumb having that come on the screen.
it is.
And like
So, yeah.
having like somebody vomit right into the camera. That made me laugh out loud.
You know, it kind of took me back to the days of Jaws 3D. I don't know if you ever remember that.
Oh,
just
sure.
where there were just odd things that are in the foreground floating around where you're like, oh, shit.
Well, it was
I
funny
need to see
because-
that. I don't need to see that.
Because you really were rooting for the piranhas. Because
you were,
The
yeah.
piranhas didn't get a whole lot of 3D scenes. I mean, there were a few, and they were pretty cool for me. And couple of them were not that great. But then a lot of it was just like assholes in 3D. Like when that came out, it was picking on the sheriff's kid, and he was like, "Hey, asshole!" He like threw his cup at the screen.
I know. I was like, are they hanging out in Doucheville? Or what?
yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, you saw that party. I mean, it's like when you're like at home watching cable and you accidentally stop on MTV Spring Break for a minute and you just get a little nauseous and then keep flipping. You're like, what a bunch of douchebags. The future is doomed.
Yeah, it's that spring break all of us were never invited to.
Oh man, and it's just the whole place. I mean, this is where it's like decent people do not come to this party. It's nothing but bitches and pricks that come to this because they even come out and tell them like, we have a dangerous situation, get out the water, and all of them are like, fuck you.
The sheriff has declared an emergency.
Don't worry, we got Pete over here!
Hey, man, at that point, you're like, I can hardly wait for these people to die.
Oh, and it's like, I mean, like the piranhas even come up and they're just like, you know what, we'll take care of this.
We'll get him the fuck out of the water.
And you saw a piranha with a camera. It's like, film this shit right here.
One thing that didn't work for me though is they were trying to give Ving Rhames something to do to be like a badass, and they have him like shooting his gun into the water, like, and they're supposed to be like heroic moments. You're like, dude, that's stupid. Get the fuck out of there. Why are you? Yeah, I just shot one piranha. We're safe.
Man, that movie, the movie does that a lot, and I think it's almost a joke within itself. See, I cannot think they take that seriously because there's a couple of scenes where people go out with rifles, like they're really about to do something. Like that one guy, I forgot the actor who gets on the jet ski. He's like, you know, it's like, how many bullets you got in there, man?
I said out loud, I was like, what are you even doing with that?
Yeah.
I got thousands upon 100,000 fish, and you got a rifle with like maybe 5 rounds in there.
I know, you're like, calm down, Sarah Connor.
yeah, exactly. But man, no, I really did enjoy this movie. I know a lot of people are probably going to say, hey, you know, you think, because look, this is based on the 1978 original that Joe Dante directed. And that movie, if you go back and watch it, it's a ridiculous film too, that I think even has hints of being a comedy.
It's definitely considered to be a comedy.
Yeah, and this ups the comedy even more, and because they bring in the 3D, they have to like use that to comic effect, and let's face it, I mean, this has way more breast and blood than that original ever did.
Or almost any film, really.
Yeah, and the director on this is, what's his name? It's the guy that did High Tension. Alexandra Aja.
Yeah.
He also did like The Hills Have Eyes. Man, that guy, he's a good director for gore because as much as like these films that he's done, I haven't seen High Tension, but I did see his remake of The Hills Have Eyes, and I saw the movie that he directed, Mirrors. And both those movies have some really good gore scenes. Mirrors has one of the best gore scenes I've seen in a long time.
I actually liked Mirrors. I know most people didn't, but I enjoyed it. But that's partially because my reflection is really freaky.
Well, I'll have to check that out.
You have to. Amy Smart has one of the best death scenes I've seen in a long time.
That is a good death scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my hats off to him for being able to direct a film this gory. Hey, nothing else. He knows gore.
Yeah,
So-
he certainly is willing to give the audience what they want as far as that goes. I mean, once again, this isn't the type of film you can take seriously. You should know going into this what it is. I mean, seriously, listen to our review. If you're still not sold by our review, then you will hate it. This is not your type of movie.
Yeah, and I'm going to give it 2 ratings here. I hardly ever do this, but I'm going to give it 2 ratings. I think that if you see this with the right group of people, you know, you go in with some beer, you catch it at the right screening, maybe a midnight screening or something, surrounded by people who are in on the joke too, this could be a full price film. Now, I think that if you watch this at home by yourself, it's still funny enough and has enough nudity, gore, whatever, to merit a matinee.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, actually. I guess I wouldn't have thought of doing the 2 rating thing, but yeah, you're right. Seeing this with a big crowd, like having a few beers, yeah, you're going to laugh your ass off, you're going to cheer, you're probably going to get covered with beer, and you might even get motorboated if the girl next to you is drunk enough.
Now, what size are your man tits if you're getting motorboated by a chick next to you?
No, the Umotor. Yeah, you're right.
No comment.
Yeah, no. Here you go, baby. You know you love it.
Sorry.
So yeah, no. I'm the same rating as you.
You know what? Honestly, if you're lucky enough to find a big crowd to see this with, I mean, congratulations to you, because I went to a midnight screening of this and there was hardly anyone in that theater. So I'm a little curious how this movie's going to do this weekend. But other than that, yeah, I mean, honestly, movies like this, they're so much bigger in my head, just like Expendables. You know, I do expect so much more craziness out of them. And this one, I kind of felt the same way like I did with the Expendables, where it just wasn't enough craziness that I would have loved. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of tits and a lot of ads running around, but you know what? I can see that on the internet every day. I can see it right now, actually, while I'm doing this. But,
can you see fish with it at the same time?
That's true. There's not a lot of fish porn.
Well, no. I mean, I've been in some smelly situations where it reminded me of fish.
Hey, we don't want to hear about those situations.
There's Finding Nina Hartley.
But no. Honestly, I have to get you. I mean, this movie does need to be seen in 3D in a movie theater. And I mean, honestly, if you pay matinee, I think you'll get the best time out of it. You won't be fucking walking away going, oh fuck, I wish I didn't pay full price for that, because yeah, it was fun, but I had to wait for that fun for the last reel. So I'm giving it's a full on matinee. So
it would have been a full price had the Predator showed up, right?
Fucking if the Predator showed up, no. If the Predator, if the DeLorean, and the Michael J. Fox showed up all in one scene, that would have sold it. This would have been fucking better than sex, all right?
I argued that before, but you know what? That sounds like a badass movie to me.
If Jaws like all of a sudden showed up with lasers on his fins, that would have been the ultimate.
And you know what this movie does, and I just want to mention this because I think this is a warning to some people. The movie ends abruptly. That could either be a good thing or that could be a bad thing, or it could be leading to a sequel.
You're not wrapped up in the plot. Come on.
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares? It's like one of those. I knew it like when they got to that point, like 2 minutes before the abrupt ending. I was like, here it goes. Now at this point, it's just leading up to that cut to credits.
I'll tell you what, though, even though when the movie really started, like my other complaint is that when the movie really started and I was like, oh great, I'm ready to fucking go for this ride. You're right, the movie just stops and you're like, oh okay.
And you know what? You're right. At this point, it would have been cool had Christopher Lloyd pulled up in DeLorean. Marty, get in! We have to go to the future to stop the fish.
He should have pulled up on the shark with the lasers. We just gotta get the shark up to 88, Marty.
Piranha hunt in packs. The first bite draws blood. The blood draws the pack.